Hey everyone, so today I want to give you a brief overview of a new AI powered code editor launched by Google, which is called as Antigravity. So this is available for Mac, Windows and Linux. So before I jump into download step, let me just show you the interface. So this looks much pretty similar to VS Code interface. You have the files here, the code lines mentioned here, and you have the agent running on the right side. So pretty similar to VS Code interface. Now you can download it from the official website, which is antigravity.google, and you can download it for Windows, Linux and Mac based on the steps. Once you have downloaded and set it up, this is the interface that you see. Basically there is some initial setup process involved, and then you see an interface like this. And in terms of choice of agents, we have 3 to 4 agents here, which is Gemini Pro High, Low, Claude and then GPT OSS. So these are the agents which are available. And initially I just wanted to test out how the editor or the agent works, or what are the capabilities of the agent. So I added a prompt which was to create a double-ended queue visualization. Let me just show you the web app which is created. So it is a double-ended queue visualizer where, let's just say, if I click on push front by adding a value, for example 100, the value will get pushed from the front of the queue, and it will also show the actual code which is being run from the code snippets, like the line by line code execution by which the elements get added. So 100 got added into the front of the queue. Similarly, if I type 120 here, it will be pushed from the rear end after 44. So it checks the max values and then shows the 120 value. Then we have the pop front functionality where the element is popped from the front, and if I click on pop rear, it will run the code line by line, and it will remove the element from the rear end. So this is how double-ended queue works basically. So for this, I added a prompt in Antigravity IDE, which is I wanted to create a double-ended queue visualization web app. It should show addition from front end, rear end animations and code snippets mainly, so that user is able to understand how the code works, and should be responsive. So the first thing that it did was it came up with an implementation plan like this. So this is the implementation plan which is for generates, and this happens when you set up the planning kind of a mode. If you set it up too fast, I think it will code directly, but planning works great. So it will tell you the implementation plan which it wants to go through. So the plan was to create 3 files. So this is not a React app, this is a basic web app, website or web app, whatever you want to say it. Then there was a header, the main container, then the operations or the functions which were present, and these are the functionalities which it wanted to create. So this was the implementation plan. Now it asks whether you want to proceed with this implementation plan. If you want to change somewhere, you can comment on this line and it will update the implementation plan first. Like, let's just say if you want to convert this from a simple website to React app, you can do that. Once you proceed with the implementation plan, it will create the files like this, and it will test the interface in the browser as well. So, and after that it will create the web apps as you can see in the browser. So let me just show you an example of a prompt. So let's just say I want to show the max limit of the queue somewhere in the browser, somewhere in the website, and test the max limit in the browser. So it is also able to test the code as well. So let me just hit enter, and this is how the interface goes by. So there is less of coding involved and more of prompting involved here. So you do more of prompt engineering on a code level basis, and now the agent is thinking about what all changes it needs to be made. Now it is updating the task. So there is a task list here where it will show you the number of tasks that it can execute. So this was the planning task and all the tasks which I asked for it to do, and the max limit has been added. Now it has opened the browser by itself because I wanted it to test the capabilities, and as you can see, it is now in agent mode, which is and testing the code by itself. So in the browser, it has opened the interface and it has set the max limit to 10. Now I think it will wait for 5 seconds and then for the URL to open. So basically it waits. Then it will show that, okay, I opened the browser and the max 10 in displayed. Then it will click the push front for, I think, 10 times. And by that, the elements will start getting added. So it is waiting for all the elements to get added line by line. Now the thing that happened was it clicked for the 10 times, but the code executed for only 3 times. Now this is a bug. Great. So we have the first bug which AI needs to understand. Now it is extracting the DOM elements and trying to see that the 3 elements were added despite 10 clicks, likely due to easy animating. So it understood that it was because the animating code, and it is again adding the elements again. Great. So it is thinking like a human, like why the elements did not get added. Now I thought it would run into some error here, but it hasn't. And as you can see, it is now adding the values, and I think it has increased the wait time a bit so that the code get executed. As you can see, it is now clicking on push front after the animation gets finished. So now the size is set to 8, and I think at the max value it will have to stop. So we are at size 10. Now it has added a wait for 5 seconds, which is the 5 seconds limit, which it did not wait before. And now the max value is reached, and it already understood that it has clicked 7 more times in between. Now as you can see, the size is now 10, and push front one more time, it is clicking on push front. Now the size shouldn't exit and the max shouldn't exit, like increase, and it is like testing it out. And max 10 was displayed, as you can see. So it understood that size is still displayed, and it is now rendering the playback. So basically it records the entire playback that has happened in the browser, and then it creates a visualization for you as well, so that you have the recording. So now this is the walkthrough which it has generated. So let me just open the walkthrough here. Now in the walkthrough, it generates the recording for each test that it has run, and now it is running it is the like pushing the recording from the browser to here. So let's just wait for a few minutes until the recording is being pushed from the browser into the walkthrough. It takes a few minutes. By that time, I can show you the other recordings that it already created. So as you can see, the QLAN test was added. So it pushed the value to 1. And as you can see, the size 1 was updated here. Then it pushed from here again, and the size was updated to 2. And that recording was added here. So it like creates the recordings and then pushes them to the walkthrough so that you have a visual feedback of how it worked. So that's the agentic capabilities this IDE has. I'm pretty sure this is a VS Code fork, but it's a great fork, I must say. And the agentic capabilities of Gemini 3 are really awesome. As you can see, I thought that it might run into a bug when it was testing out the max length thing, but it didn't, and it actually showed it. So that's great. I think generate recording will take some higher amount of time because the recording was longer. For shorter recording, it does it easily. And that's the overall interface that you can see, and you can use it for your use cases. Now it runs pretty smoothly on Linux without, I don't think there is much resource usage. So it's a kind of a great tool if you want. If you want to try it out again, the URL is antigravity.google. Do download it and test it out. Google team has done a splendid job of creating a useful VS Code fork, which is quite interesting, and I don't know. Now for basic tasks, it works really well. Now I want to try it out for some advanced tasks as well. Like this was a pretty basic web interface, not quite literally really basic one, but it's a great example of how it works. But I want to try out some advanced example and see. So I will try to cover it that in my future post or video, wherever you see this content from. So yeah, that was the brief overview of Google Antigravity browser. And that's it from my end for today. Thank you. Have a nice day. Goodbye.